In this assessment competency, you'll be examining the anatomy of a type based on the characteristics of its letter form. You will use this to determine what classification of type the logo belongs to. Then you will utilize the character panel in Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Fonts to identify 3 similar fonts that would fall into the same classification. If you haven't already done so, please review the lectures in this module. Take detailed notes which you may refer back to for help when completing this assessment. To begin, read the scenario and task provided. You will review each client listed and observe their logo's typography. Download and open up this Adobe Illustrator assessment file that is provided for you. With the assessment file open in Illustrator, you will use the pre-developed icons to indicate at least 3 parts of the typeface anatomy and its characteristics for each logo. Then you'll type a short description of what the icons are indicated. So let's go ahead and look at an example. The Tiffany & Co. logo uses a transitional serif typeface. I was able to determine that the Tiffany & Co. logo uses a transitional serif typeface based on the terminology that was described in the lecture videos. This is evident because of the wide bracketed serif, contrast between thick and thin strokes, and the axis of rounded letters are upright due to the vertical stress. To use the pre-developed icons in the Adobe Illustrator document, choose your selection tool. Then hover over and click to select which icon you would like to use. We'll make multiple copies of this by hovering over the icon, and if you're on a Mac, you'll choose Option and hold that down on your keyboard. If you're using a Windows computer, you'll choose Alt. Then you'll click and drag the object and position it over top of the letter form and the anatomy you wish to identify. Notice how when I hover over and I press my Option or Alt key, it gives me a double arrow. That indicates that it is being duplicated. If you would like to change the color of the icon, you can go ahead and do this easily through the swatch panel. Mine's showing up here, but if yours doesn't happen to show, you can always go up to Window and activate swatches. You'll know if that panel is activated because there'll be a check mark beside it. With the icon selected, you'll navigate over to your swatch panel. Of course, you'll have to make sure that you choose the outline and select the color from there. After you've placed the icon, you'll then go ahead and choose the text tool. Then click and drag the cursor near the icon to create a text frame. In this text box, you will go ahead and type a brief description of the terminology and how it applies to that particular typeface. If you'd like to change the color of the text so it contrasts well, you can go ahead and navigate back to your swatches panel, choose fill, and then the appropriate color. By default, the text should be formatted in Myriad Pro. It says that in the characters panel. Again, if you don't see the characters panel, you can go ahead to Window and type, and then make sure character is selected. Now remember, you're going to do this for each of the logo examples provided, and you'll identify at least 3 characteristics of that typeface's anatomy that is specific of that type's classification.